Opinion pieces are tough, but I wanted to share my opinion, my thoughts, and my views on this whole Israel Adesanya is the greatest striker in MMA history. I don't just disagree with that, I strongly disagree with that. If you're ready to dig in, because I know I'm ready to share my opinion with you, follow along and let's go. I truly believe that Israel Adesanya is extremely talented. He's tough, he's crafty, he has an extensive kickboxing background. The guy really seems to do it all. His nickname is Style Bender. Think how good you have to be to have the nickname Style Bender, if that's what people say you do. But are you the greatest we've seen yet in the UFC? I don't think so, Tim. So, I'm going to give you just a few great strikers that the UFC has produced or have joined the UFC and competed. And then I'll give you my number one that I believe is better than Israel Adesanya. His body of work is better than what Israel Adesanya has done yet. So someday Israel Adesanya could be the greatest. But right now, that discussion's not even on the table. Alistair Overeem. Uberreem. K1 Grand Prix champion. I pretty much could rest my case there. When it comes to striking, the K1 Grand Prix is a big deal. And he holds the title as champ. Strikeforce heavyweight champ, Dream heavyweight champ. His striking is unbelievable. Pinpoint, powerful. He put a master performance against your boy, Brock Lesnar. Lyoto Machida, the original karate stance guy. Look a little bit like Conor McGregor, huh? But he incorporated that karate style we had never seen. That elite level of touch. Just touch. He would just touch people. He would touch them enough that he put Rashad Evans out. We all remember that KO, right? Kind of looked like the stanky leg. But Lyoto was crafty. It was a style. It was a problem we've never seen before in the UFC because his striking was so elite in a form that most UFC fighters don't have. So it was a technique that they weren't used to. They had to adopt. Lyoto Machida, great striker. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Why aren't we talking about him? Phenomenal striking. Very fast, in and out. Pop, 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 pop. He comes in and out. He is super quick, super crafty. Great striker. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Whenever I talk about great strikers, I don't mean just punch power. Or, Vanderlei Silva was considered a great striker. Right? But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for that rampage thump. Boom. I'm not looking for Chuck's looping left hook. I'm not looking for his wild overhand right. I'm thinking technical, quick-moving, unorthodox, stylistic, creative strikers. When you talk about that, you have to think of John Jones. Phenomenal striker. Super creative. He doesn't possess the knockout power. Fine. His striking, though, incredible. Love him or hate him, Michael the Count Bisping. His striking was off the charts. His kickboxing record is incredible. Off the charts good. No one talks about how good the striking of Michael Bisping was. Crisp, clean, technical fighter. Couple of honorable mentions that I want to give. I want to give an honorable mention to Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos, boxing is great. His boxing skill set is phenomenal. His hands. But when we talk about striking, it's almost a Muay Thai art. It's hands, elbows, knees, and feet. Okay? So, I can't put him on the list because of that. The other honorable mention that I want to give is to Andrei Arlovski. You know that Andrei Arlovski has phenomenal hands. I would like to see if Arlovski's chin could hold up. I would love to see a technical boxing match. You know what? 16-ounce gloves. I would love to see 16-ounce gloves, Junior Dos Santos versus Andrei Arlovski, just with their hands. I think we'd be in for a really, really great fight. Those are my two honorable mentions. I'll let you know my next two, or my next one that I'm bringing up on the list, then who I think is better. Jose Aldo. Yeah, Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo. His striking was impeccable. Incredible. What did he go, 13 years undefeated until Conor starched him? With a super hard punch. Up until then, he looked invincible. I have to say, he's one of the greatest strikers to grace the octagon. I gotta throw one more in there before my final pick. Be right back. Here he is to save the day. Mighty Mouse Johnson. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. How quick he was. The angles he threw from. He was so creative in his striking. Go back to some of his fights. I know he left the UFC. He cleaned out the divisions. He almost became boring because it was just going to be so technical. He started getting finishes, submissions, but his striking was incredible. I know I said I wanted to do it again, but I got to do it again real quick for you. Sorry. But you've got to bring in Dominic Cruz. His striking is incredible. TJ Dillashaw, Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Look at their striking. And to come in and say that Israel Adasanya is the greatest striker the UFC has ever seen is a marketing ploy. It's a joke. They're trying to hype that up. They're trying to get you to believe that. And you're forgetting about the body of work all these former UFC fighters or current UFC fighters, older UFC fighters. You're forgetting about the body of work they've done. Don't be so quick to jump off the boat. Last, and certainly not least, Anderson the Spider Silva. It is no but he's already beat Anderson Silva. He beat a 45-year-old Anderson Silva. He did not beat the Anderson Silva. You know it, and I know it. That Anderson Silva that was super old that still almost stopped Daniel Cormier. Way past his prime, Anderson Silva got beat by Israel Adesanya. Past his prime, Anderson Silva got beat by Daniel Cormier. It's not a fair fight. We're looking at who they once were and the body of work they've done that makes them the greatest striker of all time. Anderson Silva. And in my opinion, Israel Adesanya has a long way to go because he's got to compete with the amount of work that Anderson Silva put in. The body of work, holistically. The way he destroyed his first fight in the UFC. He destroyed, what's his face? Can't even think of his face. But then what he did to Rich Franklin by breaking his nose with the knees. The Muay Thai clinch. Something that Rich Franklin prided himself on. Said that he thought was a strong suit. Anderson Silva was better. Okay? So the issue is Anderson Silva by far is a better pure striker than Israel Adesanya right now. In my opinion. This is an opinion piece. So if you disagree, you strongly disagree, let me know in the comments below. If you haven't yet, subscribe, leave a comment. It helps. I appreciate you guys. Remind me of the guy that he beat in his first UFC fight, Anderson Silva. Red hair, Chris Lieben. Did you see the way he picked Chris Lieben apart? Then after he knocked him out, he played that weird guitar and did that little dance. Anderson Silva is the scariest striker of all time. Think back to his fight with Forrest Griffin. He was in the Matrix in that fight. The way he stopped Sandman when he went up to 205. Caught that kick, hit him, bah! Just split him wide open and dropped him. Think of what he did to Stephan Bonner, where he backs himself up on the cage. This is an old Anderson Silva, by the way. This is a past his prime. Backs him, come on. He and then strikes, and it's over, baby. That's all she wrote. Some of his masterful performances will be forgotten. It's what time does to us all. We all forget. And then we get caught up in Conor McGregor is the greatest striker of all time. Israel Adasanya is the greatest striker of all time. It's who they're trying to hype up. Don't forget history, folks. Don't forget of all time. Currently, yes. Of all time, I think if we're being real with each other, the answer is no. If you enjoy these thumbnails as much as I do, get on Twitter. Go down to the description in the bio. Find Brian. Hit him up. Tell him Tiger sent you. And get some of the most creative, fun thumbnails of all time. They're great. You don't have to go back and watch my library of videos. But go back and just look at some of the thumbnails. They're fantastic. Brian, I cannot thank you enough. I appreciate all the work that you give me. You're the man. If you're looking for the man, I will link his description in the description below. Hit him up. Get your own images made.